Hey all, so today I want to take a look at the Ministry of Testing challenge to use an API automation tool and mitigate the following risks for the RESTful Booker site. You can see the description of the problem that I'm looking at here. And the approach I want to take today is I want to look at it with Postman, but I want to start with exploratory testing the API to figure out what automation we need to do. I've never really looked at this application before. I probably should have because I've heard a lot about it, but I haven't. So let's take a look at it and let's just see together where it goes. So what I'm going to do here is start with this application and I will open up my dev tools. And what I'll do is, let me lock that to one, not working. Well, I'll just do it the way I normally would. Hopefully you can follow along as I tab back and forth. So I'm going to refresh the page here. And the reason I'm doing this is I want to see what's going on in the network tab here, just to get an idea of what APIs there might be. I know there is a Postman collection for this and documentation and stuff, but I'm just going to look at this as if I don't know any of that and just kind of see where it takes me and what I can learn from it. So we've got one API call here for getting the branding. Doesn't seem that interesting for what I'm looking for. But this room one seems like it might be interesting. So I'm going to actually dig into this one a little more. And I can do that here, of course, in the console tools and look at what data it's giving me. But I'm actually going to go over to Postman and I'll create a new workspace, MOT API test. Let's call it, I'll make it public. Let's create that workspace. And then I'll add a collection to it. And in that collection, I'll add a request. And I'll put this here and send that request. So that's the same. This gives me back the same data that I could see in the dev tools. But let's just see what we got here. So we got a room ID. And it's got the image associated with it, a description, some different features that it has, room price. All right, cool. So I wonder, I'm just curious about this. I'm going to try putting room ID 1 here. Okay, so that's kind of what I would expect. So this at this level, it was giving me a list of rooms. You can see with that brackets. So when I go here, it gives me a particular room. That's what I would expect. I wonder what happens if I go for another room. In the list one, it looked like there was only one room. Okay, so that's interesting actually. This 500 internal server error. Not what I would expect. I would expect a 404 if I'm looking for a room that isn't there. So I'm just gonna put a note here. 500 error when trying to get a room that isn't there. Cool. All right. So that's not what we're really after. What we're trying to figure out is creating rooms. So this is getting data for a room. So I'm going to need to figure out how to create a room. And what I think that means is booking a room, maybe? It's probably not. It's probably something else in the API that might not be exposed in the UI. So I may have to go look at the documentation. But let's just try this for a sec. So when I click on that, does that give me anything here? Okay, that just gets me the info about the room. Okay. What if I book it? Yeah, I know I didn't fill out the fields. Thank you. Okay, so I'm getting a 400 error because I didn't give it the information it wanted. But I just want to take a look at this call in Postman so I can explore with it a bit. Interesting. 403 forbidden. And here it was a 4.0. I was doing a post. So let's try that. There we go. So now I get a 400 bad request. That's interesting though. I guess that's fine, a 403. And I try to get on that. All right, so this is a bad request, so I need to fill out some information in the body in the payload here. I spent a few minutes playing with that and then decided to go look at the admin panel instead. Well, I'll leave that for now. I'm going to go look at the admin panel here. My username is admin. My password's 123. I don't know if it validates. Let's see. Sure seems like it does. Log in. 403. All right, I guess I have to go look at the actual documentation for this. So all right, let's try that. That is my username and password. I was close. I was close. Password. Log in. No? Yes. Okay. There we go. Room number. So here looks like I've got access to the create. But first I will, in order to access that, I'll need to be able to log in. So I'm going to start creating a bit of a flow in Postman here. Add a request, and this one I will use for the login request. Let's say, call it login. And it looks like payload is, let's see, application JSON, so I can probably just do this as username admin password was password. Let's take a look at this. Just see, is that admin and password? That should do it. Let's send this just to see. Unsupported media type, right? JSON. That request. Okay. And see that again. All right. So that seems to have worked. All right. And then let's try creating a room in here. Just use default values, and let's create that. All right, let's take a look at what's happened here. Interesting. It's sent. Oh, I see. So it does a post and a get. Okay. So let's copy this over to Postman. And we'll call this create a room. This is the one that we're interested in. But we're going to need a payload. I will just copy this as a starting point. And I think it's JSON again. Let's beautify it. And okay, so room name 201. All right, I did not put a description in last time. Room price and features. All right, so this gives the basics. Let's Well, I don't know if I want to try. I'm going to try creating a new room name. Send. Okay, I got back a 201 created. And then it makes me wonder about the actual data for this. So I will do what they did in the UI, which is newly created room. All right, so in this case, room ID is 3. I'll pass that on, put that as a variable later, but let's just check on it. Ooh, interesting. Huh. I'm getting a 500, so it's like it thinks that room ID is not there. I wonder if room ID 2 is there. No, so only room ID 1 works. Interesting. Okay, let me go look at the UI here. So I wonder if this is just not adding. If I refresh this page. So it remembers that. Oh no, it's not refreshed yet. Interesting. So it looks like it doesn't actually save the data. I wonder if that's deliberate. Because this is just a testing application. Let's look here. Is there any docs? It's interesting though, because in here, when I, oh no, I lost it. What was it? It was room. Okay, so when I created this room, and then it did a get on the room, but it only had this one room still. Interesting. It must not have a database under the hood. That's annoying. So what's the risk? Is unable to create rooms. Well, I mean, kind of is unable to create rooms. It technically created a room, and I could check that here, but that's interesting though. It does index to the next room ID. Because this is creating a room as room 3. So let me send another one. Oh. Interesting. Now let me send it again. That does room 3. Now I'm going to send the same request again. That does room 4. But if I refresh here, so that seems to be there. What about, is it here? Yes, it is. Okay. So I seem to have discovered something interesting. Now, if I go here and I do room 3, send that. That worked. What if I add a room here? In 205, 100 price units, create, and now if I create another room in Postman, so what I'm trying here is, wait, wrong one, 206. What I'm trying here is to see if I create it from 2 different places. So that was room ID 6, right? Yeah, room ID 6. Let's check on that. That seems to work. Interesting that it didn't work the first time. Okay, Okay, I want to try putting all of these options on just so I have them. And I can copy them. 207. All right, so there's all the features. I'd like to try a few wrong inputs just to see. Okay, let's see. So this has a couple options probably, right? Single, twin, double family, and suite. Okay, let me try spelling it wrong. Suite room. We're gonna make a suite room. Bad request. This is a bit of a security risk. I'll just note that in my notes. Creating a room. Okay. Good to know. Let's see if I can spell suite correctly. Okay. Accessible. Let's see. If only it was that easy to add accessibility to stuff. I wonder about this room price. What if somebody wants a free room? Let's see what happens. Ooh, failed. So minimum room price. What is the minimum room price? Must be greater than or equal to 1. Okay. So you need to have 1 money unit to get this room. Okay. What about some of that? Bad request. Oh. I wonder if that's because it's a decimal. What if I did that? Yeah, okay. So room prices cannot be bad request with no info. How to fix it when using a decimal price. Okay. What about like really expensive room? I mean, this is a suite, right? It's not going to be 1,000. Not going to be 10,000. Not 100. A million price units. Too much. $9.99 is the most you're allowed to do. Okay. $9.99. All right. Let's just check 1,000. Boundary value analysis, right? Okay. Let's give it all the features. Okay. Ooh. There must be a reset time. Because we're back to room ID 3 here.